Hey Axis and Allies players, the good captain here. Welcome to Game 3 of Axis and Allies 1914. A few things to say about this game. I will be the CP. My opponent for this game is the Veteran. The Veteran is a fellow Axis and Allies YouTuber. I will link, or I'll put a link in the description box below to his channel so you can check him out. And like Ragnell previous, the Veteran and I have played many games against each other. This will be our 11th game. And I might say something to this in general. I could show other games against different opponents, but these would be less, how should I say this? I think less interesting because they would be less experienced opponents. I can go down this rabbit hole if I want to, but I think I won't in regards to an experienced game versus an inexperienced game. An experience being the great equalizer when it comes to the quote-unquote imbalanced game. But anyway, not for this video. The Veteran is a very tenacious player. He's not afraid to take risks. He's not afraid to experiment. And when he takes risks and he experiments, I think it's intuitive to him. But whereas I might say a normal Axis and Allies player or someone who's more risk averse would see only trouble, this fellow he can definitely see things differently. He's not afraid to what I call attack uphill or attack at a disadvantage if it creates a contested zone that later leads to his benefit. I've seen him take Russia as the Entente and just ram south into Constantinople, right? Because Russia's a doomed power anyway. Why not have it go down swinging? And it's this mentality, it's this type of behavior that keeps someone like me who plays pretty straight and narrow with statistics and probabilities and outcomes, keeps me very, very honest. In fact, if you've ever heard the adage, the military adage, plan for what your enemy can do, not what you think he will do. That's in the fewest amount of words, that's what I would use to describe my current opponent. The end result for this is that I'll end up just sitting, I'll take my turn. When I'm taking my turn, I'm just thinking, okay, what the heck can be done, on the opposing side? What can happen? Because despite how bizarre it might look, or the fact that I wouldn't do it doesn't mean that he won't. So this leads to some pretty awesome fireworks and some pretty amazing games. So I'm really hoping for an entertaining game here with the Veteran. I really would classify the Veteran in a minority of Axis and Allies players, like of the skilled opponents, I should say, that I've met. And in fact, I can identify, exact opponents from Anniversary. I've done a deep dive on Anniversary, 10 or 12 part series on that. And I remember the names of these three fellows who work together as a team. They go by Ozymandiak, Hanswurst, and Lederhosen Macht Free on axisandallies.org. And I might use the same, I might add that I would add the Veteran probably to that list of players who will take risks, not all the time, but selectively, and just enough that they get, again, what I might consider myself as more of a stock player, to just run their hands through their head and hang their head and just, raised eyebrows, the whole 9 yards. That whole like, who are these people? These people are crazy. But doing this, attacking uphill once or twice, and establishing that sort of reputation uh, you know, even if it doesn't work, uh, you know, every single time, as it invariably won't, might be worth it for its own sake. Anyway, it's a minority of Axis and Allies players. They are out there. They exist of a talented Axis and Allies players. I'm talking about top level, not you know, it's my first game or it's my fifth game. I'm talking about like somebody who's stacked a lot of games. Okay, all right, enough of that. Happy to have the veteran. Let's move to the what we're doing or what's going on in this game because it's a little different. Normally, I like to I play I try to play out of box or as close to out of box as possible. And I don't know if you can see I don't know if you can see this here, but it's you know my banner on my YouTube channel says playing and evaluating Axis and Allies games with the rule sets designed for their use. So I lean towards just playing straight up out of box, and the reason I do this is basically to you know try to detect an imbalance. You know, again, not to get off on too much of a tangent, but I think the only real people who can speak accurately to this are people who've played many games against many different opponents and preferably online, preferably on AAA. Okay. Once you have two 10, you know, I call them 10 level players. Like if you rated yourself at 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, if you have 9 or 10 level players on each side and one side is regularly beating out the other, then yeah, you know, there's probably a claim for an imbalance there. And then in the fewest amount of words, my MO at that point is to use the least amount of uh, rules changes or you know, whatever to preserve the integrity of the game insofar as you're able to what the game designer had in mind. But I make an exception here in this game, given the veteran's time in service and given the fact that this quote unquote balance rule is so popular. I've heard of this before, several different platforms from several different people who claim to play 1914, and that is an India build restriction. And I think the most popular one is this 6-unit limit in India. My out of the gate, my first impression is that is quite a handicap on the Entente and quite a change to the face of the game. So I'm not in favor of this out of the gate, but you know, I can steelman the argument from the other side. It is uh, overwhelming to have a full-on British economy minus naval units coming out of India. And though I am very unsympathetic to the historical arguments regarding Axis and Allies, again, this is going to be a clinic video in the future. But you know, given that this is not a game not much more complex than Risk, I'm not here to play a historical. Me personally, I'm not here. This is totally a personal opinion. I don't see Axis and Allies as a very they're plastic army men, so I don't, you know, it's kind of anyway. It is somewhat, of course, ahistorical to have the British or Indians or whatever coming in from the east, overrunning Persia from the east. Okay, this obviously was not something that happened in the war. I personally believe this exists as a game mechanic, but again, given the veterans' time in service, given that this is such a popular rule, sure, I'll do it this one time. Let's try it out. Let's have some fun. We are playing with India restricted to 6 units. Sorry, 6 units per turn. Like you can't build more than 6 ground pieces per turn. So I don't know how that's going to affect the CP strategy, but try as I might, I don't believe it affects the AH1 opener. So we are going to do a stock AH1 opener. So we do 1 fighter, 5 infantry, 1 artillery. The old 151. Okay, and then it's 14-4 in Romania. And 10-2 in Serbia. This puts us at high 70s in each territory. shift Tyrolia to Trieste, push the rest into Galatia. And lastly, and perhaps most important, the thing that you see, I just don't understand how I've never seen anybody do this in a World War One YouTube video or 1914 YouTube video, but moving your boats in and not attacking, just it seems to have been gone over the heads of most current 1914 players on the YouTubes. And yeah, I know my friend Ragnell likes to attack if he doesn't touch off any mines, and the Austrians didn't do that here, so that's true. I mean, there's a value in that. You can it's better to blast the Italian fleet in exchange for the Ottomans, or you'll probably get killed doing it, or be having one hit a battleship with one hit left. But uh, again, I'm sort of just I'll take what I can get, and I don't think it's as so desperate we need to attack if we touch off mines, but totally understand if you do. So let's see how good or bad this ends up being. In Romania, this is a okay. We just barely got the hits. Okay, very stock outcome. The defender hits 3, and we clipped the 6, so that's what's going to happen most of the time. Okay, we did it here as well, and we're 2 pieces up. The Austrians are 2 pieces up in Serbia, par in Romania, and yeah, we clipped both. So didn't touch off mines, captured both territories, and up 2 pieces in Serbia. So yeah, not a bad start. Um, but Germany's opener is probably more important in terms of the naval. So we'll get there. Thanks for watching this. All the best from the good captain.